Mr Speaker, it has been mentioned that this November will see the centenary of the Balfour Declaration, marking 100 years since the British Government confirmed the UK's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people. In making this commitment, we recognise that not only does the UK have in Israel an interest as a nation, an ally, a regional partner and a friend, but it specifically laid out the need to protect the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, thus creating the foundation upon which the State of Israel was built and upon which the British Government has since committed to a long-standing position of a two-state solution. In my view, the centenary of the Balfour Declaration presents a unique opportunity to revive the Middle East peace process, and I believe it is important that we play our part in this. And as we re-evaluate the role the UK can play in brokering peace, I was pleased to see in the gracious speech the commitment to find sustainable political solutions to conflicts across the Middle East. And as this year, it's also been said, marks the anniversary of the war of 1967, we reflect that the halfway point since Balfour was marked by 6 days of regional conflict, which pitted Israel against its neighbours, one against the other, leaving a legacy of distrust, violence and resentment against ensuing settlements. And yet today, Jordan and Israel are beacons of some much-needed stability in the region, still riven with war, mass displacement of populations and conflict. I've visited both countries and seen not only the huge challenges they face, but also their inspiring work and determination to succeed. And I refer members to my register of interest with regards to my visits to Jordan and Israel. In Jordan, I saw the wonderful work being undertaken by UNICEF in the Zaatari camp and in the host communities, educating thousands of refugee children and helping support many of the hundreds of thousands of Syrian people who have been given refuge by the Jordanian government. Mr Deputy Speaker, in my view, Jordanian commitment to stability in the region makes it a potential strong partner in the push for peace. In Israel, I also visited Rawabi, the first Palestinian-planned city, which is expected to provide homes for over 35,000 Palestinians, aiming to create more than 50,000 jobs, focusing on the high-tech, healthcare and renewable energy sector. It was awe-inspiring to see a city built from scratch. In my view, Mr Deputy Speaker, we shouldn't underestimate the prospect that a desire for economic progress could also fuel the drive for peace. And with sectors like technology booming in Israel, employing 300,000 high-tech workers, a solution with two states at peace offers a future of prosperity for both. Over recent months, we've seen terrorism and violent attacks in Israel and the West Bank, as well as closer to home in the UK. And it is always the innocent who suffer. However, whenever terrorism and terrorist extremism and intolerance take place, it must never be allowed to deter us from a desire for peace and democracy. To achieve the goal of a peaceful, stable region, we must support authorities on both sides to come to the table without prescriptive preconditions and in a spirit of understanding. I will give way.
I thank the Honourable Lady for giving way, and she's making a very powerful case for peace in the Middle East. Will she agree with me that Israel and India combined together is encapsulated with Prime Minister Modi's visit to Israel, given that India has suffered terrorism as well, and those two great countries coming together can form an excellent security relationship?
I agree with my honourable friend, and I think it's interesting to see that we are looking to see what other countries can help with this, even though we acknowledge that peace itself will come between the two sides. And as regional players and previously hostile states move closer to accepting an ideal of peace, and I note that the Security Council briefing on the peace process last month, the Arab League Secretary-General reaffirmed the commitment to the 2002 Arab Peace Initiative. And perhaps this provides an opportunity for constructive dialogue. Finally, for our part, as the dust settles from the general election and we rightly focus on what our future relationship with Europe looks like, we must continue to act in the best interests of peace across the world. And we should not lose sight of the historic bond between the UK and the region, with our strong historic trade ties. And in this special year, the UK has the opportunity to reaffirm and actively pursue peace through our long-standing positions, which support a safe and secure Israel, living alongside a viable and sovereign Palestinian state, based on 1967 borders, with agreed land swaps, agreement on the status of Jerusalem for both states, and resettlement of refugees. This has been the UK's commitment to the peace process, based on the two-state solution. Mr. Speaker, as we commemorate 100 years since the Balfour Declaration and our support for the region, we should revive the effort for peace through meaningful talks and truly make 2017 the anniversary of the Balfour Declaration, an anniversary for peace.
Yeah.